The markets are higher today, so it's always fun. Not like real high, like just enough that a couple cents higher. But at least they're not down. It's always a bummer to talk marketing on a down day, and so at least I get an update today. And so I did title my presentation, Meet Me Halfway, okay? I had an interesting fall, okay? So I am college faculty. I'm employed by Northland College, and one of the things that they encourage you to do is to continue your education. Take grad classes, attend conferences. They really push the professional development. So I decided to be foolish and take 2 graduate courses last semester, okay? Because me is going to get smarter, okay? So I took, on the corner you can see financial reporting and analysis, and then in the bottom I took taxation of individuals and business entities, okay? That was probably a bad decision, okay? So I was hoping like financial reporting and analysis, I love numbers, and so we have our own ag world where we have financial analysis, and I kind of wanted to see like, what does Warren Buffett's world look like? What does Jeff Bezos' world look like? So I took that financial reporting and analysis. And the one thing I realized, and the taxation course, you guys, we spent a lot of time talking about taxation of stock options. How many of you guys have ever worried how your stock options are going to be taxed, right? It was bad, you guys. It was horrible. And probably the worst part about it is the professors I took these classes from were phenomenal, okay? They loved their numbers. They loved teaching. This class was so bad. Okay, I will say I got an A and a B. That last financial reporting test I took, it was open book test, and I got a 70%. That's how much I did not understand. And so anyway, this is what it sounded like during all the classes. I mean, I could not, and they were great teachers, okay? They loved it. And so I'm listening to these professors talk about how exciting it is to have stock options, and are they vested or unvested? Is there a 5-year cliff or a 7-year cliff? And I'm thinking, God, this guy is a geek. And then I realized that's me, okay? That is me talking to all of you guys all the time. And so what we're going to try to do is I'm going to meet you halfway. I'm going to try not to be a total nerd when it comes to finances. And we're going to kiss. We're going to keep it simple, stupid. You guys know that phrase, okay? So I am going to try not to be a numbers nerd today. I still have a little bit of nerdiness in me. But we're going to try to keep it really simple. So I want you guys, we're going to look back at some past rallies and some past finances. We got to make a plan for 22, and then also what can we do to stay on track? Because we all know that the plans fall off the track very quickly. That happens to us quite frequently. Okay. Also, small groups. If you have questions, raise your hand, and I'll ask it. I'll repeat it for the whole group. Okay. So I'm thinking back to the past boom times, and specifically, 2012 was probably our last one. And Midwest was the new Silicon Valley. There was some big analyst that said, don't have your kids be doctors or lawyers, have them become farmers, because that's where the money is, right? 2012, easy money in farming. Prices were never going to go down. Farmland was only going to go up. We were never going to produce, fill in the blank, ever again. We were never going to have enough because there was so much demand in the world, and there was no way farmers could ever produce that. Okay? Do you guys remember those headlines? I do have a book at home called Panic, and it's a collection of headlines. It's by Michael Lewis. He wrote like The Blind Side. He's a financial guy. And it's a collection of headlines from past financial crisis. And boy, it's kind of eye-opening to read those headlines and how obvious things are in hindsight. So I think back to 2012, we were never going to have to suffer again because farming was the new Silicon Valley. So here is from Minnesota net farm income from operations. So this is from our database. I told you guys I got to have some numbers on here, okay? So I started off in 2005. So this is the whole state of Minnesota. This is how we were doing financially since 2005. So these are farmers in our farm management database. There's 75 of us around the state. Normally this database has over 2,000 farms. Some, dairy, beef, hogs, crops. This is any kind of farm in the database. And I don't think it takes too long to pick out the 2012 number, does it? I mean, that one, That one stands out pretty high. And then what happened after that? It corrected itself very quickly. And so the concern I have is not just that our net farm income went down. I am a huge advocate of working capital. You have to have cash on hand, okay? And so here's what happened. For 6 years in a row, we were red. For 6 years in a row, Minnesota farms ate into their working capital, okay? So we started off the year with cash, and every year we were digging into that to make our loan payments, to make our family living. We did not have enough cash, and we had to rely on past reserves, okay? 6 years in a row, we did not generate, we were eating into our working capital. That's a long time. And so one of the things I want, if you guys can remember anything today, it's these sticky prices, okay? So when commodity prices turn lower, costs don't, okay? They take their time. You might have a year of high output costs, but it takes many years for those input costs to come down, okay? It's not like your land rents are gonna go down tomorrow. You know, if prices crash, those aren't gonna drop. Fertilizer, machinery, all of those expenses take a long time to go down. So this is wheat. So this is total and direct overhead expenses per acre for wheat. So you know, wheat is a little unique. Spring wheat, we had a good peak in 08 for prices. Not many guys had wheat left, unfortunately. And then we had 12, but you can see it took a long time. We had a couple of years after 2012 where our input costs stayed high. It's not like they turned around and went lower. So this is that same data. So the bar chart is total and direct overhead expenses. So that's the same table I had before, but this time I put our wheat prices on there. And this is the wheat prices we received according to our database, okay? So you could have gotten something totally different. This is what the farmers in the database said they got for the wheat during that year. So we had 803 one year, 842 the next. That's wonderful. But then you see how prices fell off, and how long did it take for input costs to adjust? You know, they never really did they? I mean, we're still higher than we were in 2012. Our input costs have actually, if you want to talk about new plateaus, our input costs, unfortunately, had a new plateau. So the bottom line of all those charts, we have high prices for a year or two, but we have high input costs for several years after, okay? So please keep that in mind, sticky prices. So I know I told you guys I wasn't gonna geek out, but I still have more charts to show you guys. This is another one. This is total family living investments and capital purchases. Can you tell what year we had money to spend? And that's the same thing. That's a tough adjustment to make, okay? Now I did include in here investments, so I'm gonna pretend that every farmer maxed out like a SEP IRA or a 401k or something in 2012, okay? It's not like you added on to the house or bought a new vehicle. You totally made a smart investment with that and put it into some sort of a fund, okay? Maybe you didn't. Maybe this was a heck of a vacation year, whatever it happened to be. But family living does follow along with, and it should. If you have more money to spend, you know, you should enjoy yourself. Just make sure if things turn south, you can adjust your family living as well. So this is something I'm hearing quite a bit this year. Increasing land values cannot pay your bills. And I've heard this from several farmers this year. So right now I'm running around the countryside, meeting with farmers. We're developing your balance sheets. We're looking at 21. We're making your projections for 22. And I hear, well, at least my land's worth more. That's wonderful, but it can't make a land payment. Your land, unless you're going to sell it, it can't make a land payment. It can't make your machinery payment. It can't pay for family living. So increasing land values or any equity, whether it's sugar beets. We had the argument, we had a conference last weekend in St. Cloud with farm management instructors, and we hear from guys, well, my machinery didn't actually depreciate last year. Don't take any depreciation off my machinery. We do a management depreciation, not your tax. And we're telling you guys tough luck. We're taking 10% off like we always do, okay? I know perhaps machinery has not depreciated. I'd be okay leaving your market side alone if you want, but in farm management we do track cost and market, and I'm taking 10% off the cost value of your machinery. All right. Interest rates are almost guaranteed to rise. Actually, they've already started to rise. That's happening already. And then inflation does affect everything we buy and sell. So we know we have inflation. We know we have rising interest rates. We know we have increasing land values, but unless you're going to sell the land, it really doesn't do you any good, right? It's not really helping us out. So did you guys know on your phone, you can download an app called Fred? Anyone have Fred on their phone? Anyone a numbers geek that loves to look at charts just like me? So Fred, I don't know what it stands for. It's Federal Reserve something, something, something. I don't know what it stands for. But it's from the Federal Reserve Bank. And on your phone, you can put Fred, you can have an app called Fred, and you can pull up interest rates, you can pull up inflation. I mean, it's like a number lover's dream. I mean, it really is a lot of fun to play on. So I did, of course, I'm a numbers geek, I did pull in some of our Fred charts. So this goes back to 1950. This is the bank prime loan rate. We're still pretty low, okay, 1950. Was anyone farming in here in 78 to 80? You guys remember the interest rates, the prime rate was over 20%? Let's not talk about that. We'll skip this chart. So here's the prime rate for right now. You know, we started increasing it prior to COVID. We started increasing our interest rates, and then once COVID hit, we kind of we realized we were running into trouble. So they crashed our interest rates again, but they're starting to creep up. Here's our 15-year. I just went back a few years. This is only 5 years on this chart. 15-year fixed rate mortgage. Okay. So you can see, prior to COVID, we were getting up to, looks like, what, 4.3, 4.4%. And then once COVID hit, you know, the whole economy, we went into a little bit of a recession. But now at the end of 21 and into 22, those interest rates are starting to creep up again. So with that in mind, let's talk crop marketing, okay? So how many times have I had this phone call, seen this text, heard this, had this asked of me this year, okay? Betsy, when should I sell my wheat? Okay. My answer to that is, well, why don't you sell it at harvest? It was like over $9. Like, why are you holding your wheat? I don't have a good answer. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, it works fine. You did a great job holding your wheat, but I don't know what you're holding for. Okay. So what I tell guys is keep holding it. You're either going to get $13 or $7. I don't know what. Okay. So keep holding it for as long as you want. You're going to get $7 or $13. I don't know which way it's going to go. So I have no ideas for 21. You guys, I delivered a lot of stuff off the combine. I mean, I was working with the farm, and he said the same thing. He delivered most of his stuff off the combine. He said, this is the most relaxing winter I've ever had. Doesn't have anything to haul. He's got 4,500 bushels of seed wheat, and maybe 5,000 bushels of soybeans left. So he's relaxing this winter. So I guess the best advice is let's just see how it works out. Were you guys terrified that week after Christmas that it dropped like down into the 8s very quickly? I mean, I think that kind of put a little bit of fear into me. I still have some wheat left to sell, of course. I sold a lot, but it's got to have a few bushels left. So I did, here's a tip for you guys. This is something I've done. So this is my measure of have I done a good job marketing this year. So this is a screenshot of one of my tickets from Harvest. You can see I contracted 10,000 bushels at $7.58 at some point during the year. And I got $9.17 for my remaining bushels, okay? I delivered off the combine, I got $9.17, all right? So here's what I want you to do. Stick this on your fridge, or your bulletin board, or by your desk, okay? I will have index cards back there for you guys to pick up. What do you consider to be a failure for marketing this year? In my mind, if I sell my wheat for under $9.17, I've screwed up. Because I could have just kept those trucks going at harvest. And there were no lines at harvest. I don't know about your area. We were clear as a bell up there. We could have kept delivering all the whole time. So $9.17 is the highest price that I got at harvest. I know it went up to 10 right before Christmas, and then we tanked her the 2 weeks after Christmas, and now we're finding our way back. But if I sell wheat, if I deliver wheat to the elevator for under $9.17, I'm really gonna kick myself, because this could have been in my checkbook in August or September, never hitting a bin, never turning on a fan, never checking a bin, never blowing snow to get to that bin. So I gotta have at least $9.17. I looked at my corn and soybean contracts too. Soybeans, the highest price I could find in my records was $12.79, and corn, the highest open market price I got at harvest was $5.22. So I don't know that this is the harvest highs. I'm not saying that these are the harvest highs. This is what I could deliver off the combine at harvest corn. This is the highest price that I got off the combine. So I mean, I contracted stuff prior to that too. But I cannot sell any of my leftover corn for less than $5.22. So I did have a week or two ago, the grain buyer called and he said, hey, I'm looking for corn. You got any corn left? And I said, well, of course I got corn left. I said, why? What's going on? And he goes, well, it's $6, Betsy. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a good point. Like, why wouldn't you sell, Betsy? It's $6. And I said, I only have enough left to gamble with, so I'm going to hold it. Like, it's going to go for 10, probably more like 4. But I said, I only have gambling bushels left. I said, so I'm just going to hold on to it for now. But just the way he said it, it's $6. He really did have a good point. And so I don't really have a good reason on why we're not completely sold out on 21. I can't answer the question of where to sell your 21 because realistically it should have been gone by now. So how about for 22? This is what keeps me up at night is 22. So we have profitable prices today, even though we've had a drop, we've managed to come back. And off the combine, so let's assume our normal basis, not the zero basis we had this fall for wheat. I don't know if that's going to be tough to come by. But we can get $8.50 wheat, we can get corn for $5, and we can get soybeans for $12.25. If you lock in the futures today, lock in basis, a little bit closer to harvest, I think we can get these prices, or we should be able to get these cash prices. So I am going to have a whole stack of index cards back there right now. I've sent out an email to my farmers every now and then, and I say, print this email and put it by your desk. And all I want you to do is put, January 25th, this is what you can get for cash. And then you kind of see that. I want you guys to keep it visual. I want you guys to remember that. If wheat goes up, corn and soybeans go up, that's great. I don't want to be in your office a year from now doing your closeouts, and we have wheat at 6 1/4, soybeans at 9.75, and corn at 3.75. I think we can all agree that with the input prices that we're paying right now, that would be a disaster for us. We would be that sharp drop like we saw back in 2012. So do something to keep this in mind. Cut the slide out of the book. I don't care what you guys got to do. Keep these prices in mind. And I think I had to change this one last night because I think I had $8 wheat, and actually wheat's gone up quite a bit in the past week. I had to turn in these slides last week, so I think I changed wheat to $8.50. So here, back at Prairie Grains in December, my coworker Rhonda Bergston and I did a presentation on break-even cost of production. And so here is where we have our cost of production, and we are looking at wheat at $550 an acre. We've never been even close to $550 an acre. And I know fertilizer is dropping. Perhaps we'll get lucky and we'll be able to lower some prices. But we really have a high cost of production this year. And of course, I always encourage you guys to develop your own numbers. Here, forward contracting was not the right idea for 2021, right? We should have all been 0% sold going into harvest. But I did a closeout for a guy. He actually had to pay the elevator because he was unable to fill his contracts. His crop was that poor. He had to write a check out to the elevator, and it was a sizable check. So we do his closeout, and so we look at his numbers. He still made money this year. And I said, well, let's look at what we planned. So what was your cash flow a year ago versus what actually happened? Even though he didn't have a crop, he had to write a check out to the elevator, his revenue was still higher than what we had expected because of his crop insurance guarantees, some other things that came into play. We were kind of caught off guard by that. Even though he had to write a check out to the elevator, he was still more profitable than what we had anticipated when we did his cash flow. So I'm pulling this up again. Remember those sticky inputs. I don't want this to be us next year selling wheat for $6.45. This is what's keeping me up at night, okay? One of the things we did, we're going to raise a lot of canola on our farm next year. So last week on that Blizzard Day, Tuesday, we kind of went through things. We decided how much canola to sell. It's gone up $1 since. But we forward contracted some canola because I don't want to be delivering canola for $17 when it's $28 and $29 today. And I want to deliver right off the combine. I don't want it to hit the bin. So just to be crazy, let's talk 2023. We don't have a spring wheat price yet. Soybeans are just under $12 cash. Corn is under $5 cash. I have not made any 23 sales yet. And I don't know that I'm jumping totally on board with this. But there is the possibility to contract 23, and I know I've talked to a lot of guys who have made some sales. So how can we keep on track? Use those index cards. Take screenshots of the prices every now and then. You guys can screenshot your phone pretty easily. Kind of do a timestamp to see where prices are for the day, and you can kind of look back. You can create your own album on your phone. Do I have a screenshot album on my phone? I might, for prices. Yeah, I do. Every now and then I just kind of screenshot the prices so that I kind of remember, and I can swipe through and remember what prices were. So it's like a little trip down memory lane. Okay, so crop marketing to me is always important, but I think in 2022 it has an extra layer of importance for you guys. So when you talk about your marketing plan, it's always the same. Lock in profits, manage risks, and gives you upside potential. So here's an example of a marketing plan. Get 50% price by May 1st, all crop insurance bushels by July 15th, buy call options, buy put options, whatever you want to do. And then don't forget to think about in multiple years. So let's talk about this. Jay, would you stand up and read this slide? We can make fun of you. Stand up, and would you read this slide?
It's April 15th, and I've sold 50% of my 22 bushels.
Okay, would we all applaud Jay? Right? Nice job, Jay. Okay. Oh, no, just wait. No, stay standing. Okay, so we all agree this isn't bad, okay? This is okay to do. Now, what about line 2 now? Say line 2.
I still own 50% of my 21 bushels.
Well, most of the time it's 80%, yeah. Okay.
Oh, 80%.
Yeah. Plus, you can sit down. Plus, you've bought all your fertilizer, your seed, you've locked in your land rents, and you got all your chemicals purchased. Is this okay? Oh boy. And I know a lot of you are doing it, okay? The birthday wheat, the birthday beans, things that have celebrated birthdays on your farms, okay? They've been in the bin for a year, and then you throw them a party, and they stay another year. This year you got lucky if you sell it. This is kind of some concerns I have. So like this fall when guys were calling me, geez, I don't do with my wheat. Well, how many got sold? Well, I don't have any 21 sold, and I still got 80% of my 20 wheat in the bin. Yeah, I can't help you. I got nothing for you. I have no advice for that. So I always want to make sure you guys are thinking in multiple years, okay? And if your banker doesn't care that they get paid, or you have no debt, or whatever you want to do, you just have a great time filling up, buying new bins, okay? This is not probably the safest way to farm, but it's not uncommon. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what do I need to do to sleep at night? Okay, how do you sleep at night? And I know this is one of the saddest stories of me as a person. We sold all of our pinto beans off the combine this year. And pinto beans were pretty high, but they could go higher. It's a small market. And I woke up one night and it felt very real that pinto beans had gone to over $100 and I'd missed the boat. I mean, they're usually $40, $45. And I just woke up and it was so real. And I did hit Brian, like, pintos went to 100, and he's like, go, gah. And it was the weirdest thing. And it's kind of sad because they did not go to 100. They've never been to 100. They were gone. I don't want to have to worry about them. There's a reason why I sold them. I don't want to lose sleep over them. So it's, sometimes I still don't sleep at night even when I make marketing decisions. So this is in your book too. This is our average, the 5-year average expense for wheat, what adjustments we made, and then what our 22 budget was. This should be changed though versus what you guys think. Hopefully fertilizer is not going up 225%. Optimistic that maybe it won't. So let's just focus for a minute on what you can control. Production, no. Interest rates, no. Inflation, zero control over that. The only really tiny little thing we have is falling commodity prices. That's really the only thing we can protect for 22. These other ones are, they're just a risk we have to take. So I'll admit, things look good, right? Things look bullish. We got tensions right now over with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to freeze the winter wheat crop how many times? 3, 4, 5? The winter wheat crop's going to freeze, right? We got to have the battle for corn and soybean acres. We got South America's going to have shipping delays. Don't they always have shipping delays? Suddenly there's a strike at a port or something happens. And then we also have the whole, our investors going to buy commodities for a hedge against inflation. Okay, the stock market has not been doing well the past couple of days. Maybe you're better off buying gold and wheat and pork bellies, whatever it is you want to buy. So there is a lot of bullishness in the market. Okay, we do have the potential for some excitement. I would argue we already have pretty good prices at this time. So how long are your horns? Just try to rein it in a little bit. Okay, try to be smart about things. So just to recap, past rallies are always followed by sticky input prices. Okay, so commodity prices might not stay high, but your inputs will. We have no control over so many things, so just focus on what you can control, and then risk management is personal. If you want to hold all of your old crop plus all of your new crop, you want to build more bins, I can't stop you from doing that. I believe in risk management. To finish up, if you guys are beginning farmers, make sure you are familiar with the Beginning Farmer Tax Credit. This is available on the Department of Ag website. This is becoming a bigger issue, okay? So if you are buying land or renting land, if you're a beginning farmer, your asset owners and yourself should be receiving a tax credit. We have 2 rural mental health specialists, so if you cannot sleep at night because you are making poor marketing decisions or for whatever else is coming, don't forget to you can call Ted and Monica. They're available all the time. They both work with farmers. That's their job, is to work with farmers. You can give them a call and they'll help you talk through a few things. And then Northland Farm Management faculty. There's quite a few of us at Northland College, and so if you need your finances, you want to get some information on your finances or create a cash flow, you got a crazy idea for a new expansion, you can contact one of us and I can put you in touch with them. We got Foxton, Thief River, Moorhead, Alexandria, Roseau. We cover all of Northwest Minnesota. So questions from you guys? We got about a minute. That's all I got left, guys.